80% of people say they regret leaving a stable job. I left my stable job and I honestly felt complete peace, but I also felt broke. What do you do when God calls you to take a leap of faith like that, but He doesn't immediately catch you? You're stranded in midair, looking down, trying to see if He's down there ready to catch you. Well, in this video, I want to take you on that journey with me because I am literally in midair right now, and I want you to see what I'm doing in this current season of stress, of doubt, and of complete reliance on God. Welcome, sis. Welcome. This is Deandra, Mommy Michelle. So my name is Deandra, if you guys do not know me. All right, so this video right here is going to be pretty unfiltered, pretty raw. I don't have a script. I created an outline that is on my computer right now that I will be looking at, but this is not scripted at all. This is something that has been on my heart over the weekend that I wanted to bring you guys into. I'm not going to do any editing. Look, you're just going to get me the way you get me. Okay. Love it or hate it. This is what you're going to get. A lot of times I do a lot of videos and I script them and I'm editing them and I never even upload them. This one is going to be completely different. I'm going to go ahead and get it out to you guys. So in the intro, I talked about how I am currently suspended in midair and I don't know if God is about to catch me. God told me to take the leap and it seems like He's left me there. It seems like I'm just hovering. Not exactly falling to my death. I don't feel that way, but I do feel like I'm hovering, like suspended. And I want to talk to y'all about that, about when God tells you to do something and you feel like He's just silent and not answering you. And you start to kind of doubt, well, was that God or was that just me? Am I going crazy? Like, do I even know God? Like, I think I know God. We're going to get into that because that's currently where I am right now, where God has told me to take this leap of faith and quit my job and go full time into ministry of sorts, because this is my ministry right here. YouTube, Threads, all these social medias is what I use as my ministry. And God has told me to just step out and take a leap and just do it full time and without any money. Just do it. And He gave me some specific instructions. And currently I'm just like, okay, I need money though. Lord. Like, could I have just stayed at work and worked a little bit and made a little more money, saved up a little bit longer? And but that's not what God gave me. And we're gonna talk about that. How I know it's God. How I'm so sure that this is Him, even though I just missed the bill. We're gonna talk about all of that, okay? Because I want you guys to be encouraged and to learn God's voice, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's happening in the natural. I want you guys to know God's voice, like definitively, like you just know, regardless of anything happening that's against what you thought should happen, you're gonna know it's God. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna briefly tell y'all about my life right now, in case you don't know, because I'm sure many of you do not. But I'm going to talk to you about what's going on right now. So recently, the Lord asked me to leave my job, a pretty good job. It was pretty good pay for what I was doing. I was pretty much a researcher at a hospital that a lot of people want to work at actually my job that I got. A lot of people wanted my position. Before I got it, I was told that a lot of the people that I was seeing day to day actually applied for that position and interviewed, and they didn't get it, and I did. I was like an outsider. And everybody was wondering, like, why was she chosen? With my boss actually going through the reasons that she chose me. And I think even she didn't really understand why she chose me, but I knew. I knew. It's because I had prayed and fasted for that job. Like, not prayed and fasted for per se, but at the moment I was praying and fasting for the next step in my life. And I was praying and fasting at the behest of Jesus telling me to. And that job came like on the last day of my fast. I was given that job like on the Lord put me on a 15-day fast. On day 15, I got the call that that job was mine. So of course that was the result of that fast. I know for a fact. But I want to talk to y'all about this job that I got from that 15-day fast and how the Lord told me to leave it. So when I started that job, um, the Lord had told me that I would not be there long. That um, it would not be. He was basically telling me not to get comfortable. Because he knows that we as humans get comfortable sometimes when we are taken care of. And that job was a pretty secure job for the time being. And, you know, I wasn't doing much. It was a very laid back job. And I was stay at home pretty much. And I'm not going to go into detail here too much because I don't want this video to be too long. Maybe we'll go into this in another video, but I'll just say that the job was a pretty good job. And when God told me that I wouldn't be there that long, my whole thought was, okay, well, what is that long? See, the funny thing about God is that his timing is not our timing. And a lot of times the timing that we think goes completely against what God was talking about. And so a lot of times when God gives you a time frame, if it's not a definitive date, sometimes you have to go in and say, well, Lord, is it this or is it that? And maybe he'll tell you, maybe he won't. It just depends. But I remember in this moment, him saying that I wouldn't be there long. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, Lord, well, what is not that long? Are we talking about I'm going to be there? Am I going to be there more than a year? And immediately when I asked that question, there was a tension in my heart where I knew that I would not be there longer than a year. And I want to talk to y'all about that tension that I'm talking about. This tension that I'm talking about, y'all, is very important to figuring out if it's really God. There is this thing where it's like two sides are warring against each other. You know that picture of Satan on one side and an angel on the other side, like a devil versus an angel on each shoulder. Well, that's literally how it feels for me when I'm talking to God. There's a tension and then there's a peace. So I know when something is from God based on that, from talking to God so long, I know that there's a tension that I feel when I ask him things versus a peace that I feel when I ask him other things. And if I feel that tension, I know that it's probably against the will of God. So that's literally what happened. I asked God, I said, well, it's going to be longer than a year. And immediately I felt a tension where I knew, no, it's not going to be longer than a year. And I said, well, it's going to be shorter than a year. Okay. And I just said, okay, it's not going to be quite a year that I'm going to be there. And when I thought that, I was thinking to myself, well, I'll be there probably next year, right? Like, of course, I'll be there like longer than 6 months. And I just assumed that that was the case because I mean, this is a pretty good job, right? And so I said, okay, cool. So I started the job, and y'all, the job was going well. The bosses loved me. I caught on very well. Everything was going amazingly great. I was like teaching them things. It was going so good. So it was a very good job. Then I remember this week came about. A week came up for me, right? And by the time this week came up, which was just a few weeks before I actually left the job, this happened recently, y'all, like a month ago. Um, I started hearing that people in the office were saying things about me. I guess didn't like me. That usually happens when I am around a new group of females. For some reason, I don't know, y'all. That's not even important. Um, but that week, I remember going into my job and feeling like something was wrong. Remember I said that tension? There was a tension there that week as the week started. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But like I said, there were females in there that I could tell didn't really care for me for whatever reason. Didn't really care for me. And so I figured that maybe it was just that, right? I'm like, okay, it's just because these females are feeling some type of way about me, obviously. I'm not gonna worry about that because I don't worry about stuff like that. Like I'll go and I'll speak to you, whether you like me or not. I'm gonna speak to you. I'm gonna say, hey, and I'm gonna go about and do my job and do my business. Like I'm not about fake stuff, but I'm also not about keeping up unnecessary drama. Like if you don't like me and you haven't come and told me you don't like me for whatever reason, then I'ma just assume that we all good, right? And so, my thought was, okay, it's probably just that tension is that I was feeling. It's probably just that. So went about my week, but come to find out that the feeling I was feeling was because there was about to be a major change, and God was about to speak some words to me that was about to require me to move. Hey, sis. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. If you have gotten this far, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have listened to the testimony of mine, you will see that I'm talking quite a bit about spiritual warfare. Because of that, I have a free guide just for you called Break the Chains, a step-by-step guide to spiritual warfare and protecting your family. We all go through spiritual warfare, the things that we do not see in the unseen spiritual realm. They're happening right now under our noses, and we need to know how to fight them. In this guide, I show you exactly some steps to take right now, today, to start fighting the enemy and all of his tactics. So go ahead, don't delay, go into my description and find that free guide and download it today. I know without a shadow of a doubt that it will help you. With that said, let's get back to the video. So like I said, I had been working from home pretty much all the time. I had to come in a lot for training, but it was really a work from home job. Well, that week, I was at home. It was a Thursday. And my boss, I think she texted me and she told me, she said, I don't know if she texted or called, I can't remember, but she told me that they were immediately taking away our work from home privileges. The job that I had applied for and they had told me was work from home, she said they were taking it away and that we would have to immediately start coming back to work 5 days a week the next week. This was a Thursday. The next week was the day after Labor. So the day after Labor Day, we started going in 5 days a week. To put it bluntly, y'all, I was pissed. I didn't like it. Like I was literally pissed. I didn't like it, and I immediately remember the tension that I felt, and I knew that's what that was. And I remember just fussing about it with Darius, my husband, and he just, oh my gosh, he was, he didn't like it either. But I came and I told my boss too. I said, well, I don't like this. It's not what I signed up for. But I came to the realization that I still wasn't doing much at work. Like I really wasn't doing much at work. So I purposed in my heart that I would just keep doing my work. Like do my work, go home, do my work, go home. Even though I would get home, be super tired. I said, well, at least, I still have a job. Well, as I began to pray about this, the Lord began to um show me that my time there was coming to an end. How did he show me my time there was coming to the end? I just knew. Every time that it's time for me to move, I just know. Like there's a tension, I guess I could say. Let's bring that tension back up. There's a tension when you think about it. Like when I began to think about this job, I began to have a tension. And at first I began to tell myself, well, maybe that's just me not liking that I'm not working from home anymore. Let me pray a little more about this because a lot of times we can feel some type of way about things because of our own feelings, because of our flesh, and we have to pray and make sure that that's if that's God or if it's our flesh. But after praying and or fasting, and we still feel that tension, then more than likely it's probably God. And so I began to pray about it and say, Lord, show me, like, what do you want me to do here? And the Lord began to tell me, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to leave. And I remember telling God and saying, well, Lord, I need to save up some money. Like, um, give me enough time to save up some money. I can leave maybe by the end of the year. You know, right now it's September. Give me to the end of the year and I can save some money up. And the Lord replied to me and he said, your last day is September 27th. And to make a long story short, I wasn't particularly thrilled about that because I have bills to pay. And I'm the type of person who stays on top of my bills at all times. And so to imagine leaving my job and potentially not being able to pay my bills was a little nerve wracking to me. And I remember warring with that in my mind, but I also didn't have a lot of time to war with it because September 27th was literally exactly 2 weeks into the future. And I wanted to at least give 2 weeks notice. And I didn't have time to think about it. And I remember how during that time, I went ahead and told my boss and how she did everything she could to keep me there a little longer than the 27th. Like anything she could. They ended up telling me that I needed to put in 30 days or else I would never be able to come back and work for the company. And just all of these things they threw at me. She began to tell me, well, what if we do this? What if you do that? What if, like, please don't leave. They really hated for me to leave. Well, long story short, y'all, I went ahead and left. I did. I put in my 2 weeks. I left. Like, long story short, like I said, if y'all want me to talk more in depth, I will about exactly what happened. But I put in 2 weeks. I went ahead. It was actually like, I think it was more like 10 days, y'all, honestly. It really wasn't even 2 weeks. And I went ahead and my final day was September 27th. Even though I had all of these fears about my paycheck and about getting paid and about paying my bills, y'all, literally the day I left on September 27th, there was such a peace on that day. Such a peace on that day. I can't even describe it. The tension that I was feeling being there was completely gone on that last day. It was like God was saying, look, I see you. I see that you are being obedient to my will for your life. And there was such a peace, and I left out of there, have no clue what's about to happen, and there was such a peace. So here I am right now. This is where I am right now, y'all. I'm not here to tell y'all. I know y'all might be sitting here thinking I'm about to tell y'all like this amazing miracle that has happened, but that's literally not what this video is about. I am literally here to tell y'all that I am here. God told me to take a leap. He told me to step out. He's given me visions already. And I am literally out here, y'all. And it's just like God has literally forgotten about me. Like, literally, where is God? Like, am I here? Am I alone here? Like, are you hearing me? Like, yeah, it's not even, the question is not, did God tell me to do this? We're not there. Like, I know that a lot of people, when they do something like this and it doesn't work out or something is not working out, they're saying things like, did I really hear God? Was it God or was it me? This is not that. This is me knowing without a shadow of a doubt that God told me to leave. And I don't just know it because I heard his voice, but I know it because of the dreams he's given me, of the visions that he's given me, and of the people that he has brought my way telling me the same exact thing, which is basically a repeat of the visions that he's been giving me. And this has been happening over years. All right, so let's talk about the prophetic words that have been given to me over the years and how it has come to this, right? Because I feel like I'm leaving out a whole bunch right now. All right, so this started, and y'all, this is gonna take a minute. Look, I'm trying to break it down for y'all, but it might take a minute. So this started when I left my fiance in 2014. I left him. This is a whole story. If y'all want to hear it, I have another video. I'll link it for you guys. Okay. And I'll go ahead and link it here. But this here or here, where is it? I'm trying to think how my view. I think it's over here. I'll link it over here, y'all. But here's the thing, or over here. I don't know which way is it, y'all. Y'all know which way, whichever way it is. I'll link it for y'all in the description and up top. But if y'all want to hear that, please watch that video. But the Lord told me to leave him. And during the time that he and I were separated, God began to give me this vision that has continued from the year 2015 until now, 2024, and it's continuing. So he gave me this vision of myself on a boat. And I'm not going to really explain the entire vision for y'all in this video because, again, it's going to take a long time. But if you guys want me to talk about that vision, I will, because it's a very important vision for my life. And I believe God gave me that vision in 2014, specifically because I stepped out in faith, left my fiance, and went back home to my parents with two little girls, and all because God told me to. I basically let him go. And I did not go back to him until God gave me the say to go back. I didn't know if he was going to tell me to go back to him, but he eventually did. When he did, 2 years later, we got married, right? During that time of us being separated or broken up or whatever, God revealed to me a vision. And in that vision, I was on a boat. And over time, I was on a boat and I was also on water with Jesus. And like I said, I'll explain that if you guys want me to in another video. But that vision has progressed over time. God has given me little pieces of that vision, added on to that vision, shown me what's going on in that vision over and over the years, where currently over the last couple of years, really over the last year, he's been accelerating the vision, where he's been giving me snippets of the vision like that add on to the vision. And I'm starting to see what he's talking about and what he was actually starting to show me in 2014. And it has to do with the ministry that he's calling me to today. That's basically the vision that he was showing me. He was showing me the ministry that he's calling me to today, Divine Disruptors, which is the ministry, which is my YouTube channel, basically. And it's basically the new business that I'm starting. But he's called me to this. And in this vision, it was a ministry for women. And not only did he show me that vision, but at the same time, he started sending people my way to tell me exactly what was in the vision. Like, these were people who didn't know me, who were just running into me randomly, and they were stopping me saying, God has a mandate on your life. God has something he's about to go do through you. And they all said the same thing. They said, you're going to lead women around the world to Christ. You're going to lead a ministry of women. The ministry that you're going to have is going to be full of women, and God is going to take you. Like, they were saying all of these things that God was showing me concurrently in my visions. And every time he would send me somebody and I had no clue who they were just running into me, different people, different places, different states, different walks of life, old, young. He would remind me of that vision through them and confirm that vision. Where I would be left speechless, where I would be crying, where I would be like, Lord, what in the world? Like, stop me in my tracks. And just like, D, I see you and I have forgotten you. Now, this has been happening since 2015. These people walking up to me. Over the past couple of years, it has started accelerating. Not just the visions, but also the people that he's sending me. Where they're walking up to me randomly, girl, I don't know you, but I see something in you that God is doing. You're going to bring many, many, many women to Christ, and just like pulling all of this out of me. Where, go back in there, deal. I'm sorry, y'all. Here, deal. What are you doing? Why did you take all that bread out? I'm sorry, put that bread back in there. Give it here. Give me the bread. Come on. Now close that door. Go back in there. Sorry, guys. But anyway, so he was showing me like that vision and the women he was bringing my way. And so it came to the point where this last woman that came to me was a pastor's wife, and I had never met her before, but I ran into her at a church in my hometown, well, close to my hometown, church I don't even go to, but I decided to go that Sunday. I mean, that Friday, I believe it was, with my mom. And this pastor's wife, I was walking out of the restroom, basically leaving church, I believe, and she stopped me. And she had heard my testimony in church, and I don't remember exactly what I testified about, but it was something short and sweet. But the way I testify, I guess, is with such boldness that it stood out to her. And she just began to grab my hands and just speak such life into me. And it was basically what all these other women have already said about me. And she said, look, I see that God is getting ready. She said, no, he's not getting ready. He has already started a work in you. He has already started a ministry in you. You're going to reach many women for the kingdom. And God has already started it. And she just began to prophesy over my life and say, look, when he does what I know he's already doing, I want you to call me. I want you to contact me and tell me how it's going, because he's already doing it right now. And I want to know when you see what he's doing, when you actually see it, I want you to call me and let me know, because I want to know about it. And y'all, tears began to flow down my eyes, because she was basically saying everything that people had said to me over the years, said to me just a few months ago again. And I was just sitting there, just tears rolling down my eyes. And I remember going and just praying over them and said, Lord Jesus, just, giving it back to God, giving his words back to him. And so I said it to say that I didn't quit this job from one word. I quit this job from a multitude of promises, and it's culminating to this. God does things in seasons. This will be the 9th year since he's been giving me this vision. Next year will make 10 years. This 9th year, for some reason, he is, and I'm not even going to tell y'all what the number 9 means to me. I didn't even realize that this was the 9th year. But there's something about the number 9 that God has been using in my life. But this 9th year, after that first obedience that I showed the first obedience in 2014 when I left Darius. Really, this is the 10th year, of me leaving, and he's given me another act of faith in this, and saying, look, even though you can't see what's going on, will you still trust me 9 years later? Will you still trust me 10 years later to do what I'm asking you to do, even though y'all were already struggling when you had that job? Like me and Darius, me and my husband, baby, we were struggling when I was working. Of course we're going to be struggling if I'm not working. And I'm not even going to talk about how hard it was for me to go to him and tell him what God told me, because he the budget person. Of course he not going to understand. I had to get God in there and say, look, Lord, if this is your will, you're going to have to talk to Darius for me, because I already know how he going to feel about it. And sure enough, he was not happy. But there's something about And I know a lot of y'all probably gonna ask me, well, did you do it without him saying okay? No, he did eventually say he was cool with it. He said he talked to God and God let him know that it was gonna be okay. So that's even more confirmation there. But I just want to talk to y'all about this because God gave me a day to quit my job. He gave me a day to quit my job. I know how God's voice sounds. He gave me a day to quit my job, but wait a minute. Go back in there. Just wait, okay? I'm coming. And I'm sitting here, and I remember what Darius said to me when I told him that God told me to leave my job. He said, "Are you sure that's God? Or is that just you because you don't like that you're not working from home anymore?" I said, I've already beat myself up with that. And I've already asked God that. And I've already asked myself that. That was definitely um, a point of tension for me. That I think that was definitely a part of Satan's arsenal um, of him trying to um, get me confused. Because Satan has an arsenal and he uses it. And he knew that using that would be a way to get me confused about what God is calling me to do. Because if he can get me confused and say, well, you know what? You didn't really like that had to go back your job 5 days a week. That's probably your thinking and not God. Satan will use anything he can to try to mix things up for you. That's why it's important that you know God's voice, that you know the difference between God's voice and your own voice, that you understand the tension versus the peace, right? Yeah, so that's that. Um um I'm going to talk to y'all really quick about a recent question that I asked God. I wanted God to come through for me for a bill that I had that was around $700. I needed $700 to pay for it, and it wasn't a family bill. It was actually a personal bill that I needed to pay. And I asked God to supply that money for me. And to make a long story short, I didn't get that money. And I want to tell y'all about that because I think this is very important for me to talk about. Because I want y'all to see what faith really is and how important it is to always obey God, not halfway, not sometimey, not do one thing God says, not the other, but to do everything God's telling you to do. So I asked God for $700, and I said, Lord, well, I really need the $700 because it's a bill that needs to be paid, and I haven't missed any bills, and I don't like missing bills. And I said, Lord, I just need help getting this 700. We got money coming in, but I said, I can't go into the family funds because as family funds, I don't like to mix my funds with family funds. We have 4 kids. I can't just take all the money in our joint bank account and use it for me. And I said, Lord, I don't want to do that. I need my own money. You told me to take this leap of faith. You told me to take this job. Now I need the money, right? And I put this before the Lord. I prayed about it. I got on my knees. I did all the things, y'all. All the things. All the things I did them. At the end of the day, I did not get the $700. At the end of the day, God did not provide the $700 in the time frame that I asked him to. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So, the day that I needed the $700, when it came down to that specific day, um, you can say that I could have tried to do a whole bunch of things. But the fact of the matter is, I have a little baby at home. There was a lot of things that I couldn't do. I was trying to do, but I couldn't do. Um, but on the day that on the day that I told him to provide it, what happened is the there's a woman who reached out to me who was the woman of the commercial that me and my son we did a commercial, me and my son. And the commercial was supposed to pay us $1,800 a piece for doing a commercial. We were only out there maybe 2 hours, y'all. We made $1,800 a piece. I said, now, Lord, that's the kind of money that I want from here on out, right? And we did that commercial, but they don't pay you right then and there. Well, we had not sent in our paperwork for the commercial. So the day that I asked the Lord to provide the $700 is the exact day that the woman over the billing sent me an email and said, will you please ASAP send your information and your forms for you and deal? And she said it as in, why haven't you sent it? Like, and I didn't know that I was supposed to send it because this is a first time thing for me. But she was like, why haven't you sent it? Like, send it ASAP so we can pay you. And so I sent it ASAP. I sent it then. That was on the day that I asked the Lord to provide. All right. So my next question would be, or anybody's next question would be, well, if this was the money that I was supposed to have to pay my $700 bill on time, Lord, why didn't you let me know that? Like, what, like, could I have just known it some kind of way that I was supposed to send the money? And my mind immediately went back to a couple of weeks ago when the Lord had specifically told me to go on a 5-day fast. He had specifically told me to go on a 5-day fast, and I ignored it. I did not do that 5-day fast. And all I can think right now is, would that 5-day fast have hastened things for me if I had done it a couple of weeks before? Would that have allowed my mind to be clear and allow Holy Spirit to speak to me in the middle of all the chaos that I have in this house, in the middle of all the spiritual warfare that's going around me and distracting me? Would I have been able to be still and let Holy Spirit speak to my heart and let me know how to make sure that I had that $700 even before I asked for it? Like, was that fast the thing that was going to ensure that I got what I asked for? And I say this because I fasted a lot, y'all. And I've asked the Lord for a lot during those fasts. Everything that I asked the Lord for during a fast, I've gotten it. Every single thing, whether that thing was good for me, whether it was really what he wanted for me or not, what I ask for in a fast, I get it. If y'all want me to make another video telling y'all about everything I've asked for in my fastings, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video on that. And all I could think was, I'm asking for this stuff. I'm asking for something that's very important to me. But God told me to fast a couple of weeks before, and I didn't do it. I started it, but I didn't finish it. I did like 2 days. I did like 1 or 2 days, but I didn't do 5 days. And I want to talk to y'all about that. Let's stop there for a minute because this is important. And I'm gonna take y'all to the Bible for a minute, okay? And I want to talk about this, about the importance of fasting and finishing a fast that you start. Finishing the fast that God has put you on. Finishing a fast that you told God that you would do, okay? So let's go to Daniel. We're going to go to Daniel chapter 10. Because let me just tell y'all, I was obedient with God on quitting the job, but I didn't continue to be obedient with God about other things such as fasting, right? And so let's talk about that before we end. I'm going to end really, really soon. But in Daniel chapter 10, I'm going to just summarize it for you guys. In Daniel chapter 10, Daniel sees a vision. And he receives this vision that greatly distresses him, that stresses him out. So Daniel, he enters a period of mourning and fasting for 3 weeks. So he fasted for 3 weeks, where he ate no food, he ate no meat, he ate no wine, he drank no wine. And at the end of the 3 weeks, he sees this figure, an angel, that was being dressed in linen with a belt of gold, whose face was shining like lightning. His eyes were like flaming torches, the Bible says, and his voice was like the sound of a multitude. And the vision overwhelms Daniel, and he is trembling and he is weak at the thought of, the vision. And this angel comes and he comforts Daniel, and he tells him that the angel tells Daniel that his prayers were heard from the first day he humbled himself before God. So in other words, Daniel had been fasting for 3 weeks. Nothing was happening. He wanted something and nothing was happening. And I'm sure during those 3 weeks he was wondering, has God forgotten me? Well, the Bible says that at the end of the 3 weeks, let's just say the last day, an angel comes before Daniel. And this angel tells Daniel that Daniel's prayers were heard on the very first day. Meaning his prayers, they reached heaven. God heard his prayers. In other words, God hears you when you pray your prayers. He hears you when you ask him for things. In other words, God heard me when I asked for the $700. However, listen to what the angel says. The angel says, however, I was delayed for 21 days by the prince of Persia. Now let's go back. How long was Daniel fasting? He was fasting for 3 weeks. How many days is 3 weeks? 7, 14, 21. Daniel was fasting for 21 days. This angel of God comes to Daniel and says, Daniel, we heard your prayer on day 1. We heard what you asked for on day 1. However, I was delayed for 21 days because the prince of Persia, which is a spiritual demonic being, so demonic forces, evil forces, delayed God's angel. He said he delayed him so much that Michael, which is one of the chief princes, he's one of the archangels of God. He's one of the top folks in God's in God's arena. He's one of the top people, one of the chief people up there. They had to get Michael. This angel came and he said he had to get Michael to come and help them because the prince of Persia came and was fighting them so hard. These demonic forces were fighting the angel of God so hard. The angels of God. Let me take y'all back because I don't think y'all understand. Let me do it another way. Daniel decided to go on a 3-week fast. 21 days he wanted to go on a 21-day fast. Laying before God, pleading before God. On day 21, the last day of his fast, an angel of God comes to Daniel and says, Daniel, I heard you on day 1. I know you seeing me on day 21, but I heard you on day 1. Let me tell you what I've been doing between day 1 and day 21. Daniel, I've been fighting to get to you. Daniel, I've been trying to make it to you. Daniel, I've been trying to answer your prayer. But the prince of Persia, the evil demonic forces, spiritual warfare, it had came against me. It came against us. And we couldn't even fight it off. We had to call for Michael, the archangel, the chief of princes, one of the top people in our society. We had to call him to come help us because the prince of Persia angel did not want me to get to you. He did not want me to help you because he sees, Daniel, what God is doing in your life. He sees, Deandra, what God is doing in your life. And he doesn't want you to have whatever you ask him for. He wants you to doubt God. He wants you to turn away. He wants you to forget whatever God has told you, so that you won't reap the benefits and the rewards of what God has for you. So he comes against the angels that God has sent to you to help you out. And you're fighting. They're fighting for you. These angels of God, they're fighting these demonic forces. It's spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is real, y'all. They're fighting these demonic forces on your behalf. There is a spiritual realm, y'all. You think that you're only dealing with the physical. There's a spiritual. So coming back to me, the Lord puts it into my mind to do a 5-day fast before I even think about the $700. He says do a 5-day fast. I don't do it. A week or two rolls around and I say, Lord, I need $700. It seems like that $700 is going to come, but it's going to be delayed. Why is it going to be delayed? Could it have come faster? Possibly, yes. If I had done the 5-day fast. Because probably what's going on in the spiritual realm is there are some angels that were sent to me to put some things into motion. They are fighting in the spiritual realm to get to me. The Prince of Persia, Satan, the demonic forces, they don't want me to get the help that I need. They don't want you to get the help that you need. So they're pushing them off. What is going to help these angels to get to you a little quicker? Prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting. Exactly what Daniel did. Prayer and fasting. And if you want to know how long to do your fast, that's what you go to God for. You say, Lord, how long do you want me to do my fast? Because remember, Daniel did a 21-day fast. When did the angel come? The angel came on day 21. It matters for you to do your full fast and not half of your fast. So could I have gotten that $700? Absolutely. I really do believe that that $700 was probably on the other side of that fast. God told me to do that fast even before I asked for that $700. He already knew. God already knows what you're going to ask for. You have to listen to what he's telling you to do because he already knows in the future what you're going to want and what you're going to need. So listen to those little things that he's telling you to do. Even with him telling me to leave on September 27th, I still don't really understand why on that day. But I do believe that in due time I will. Because he knows so much more than we know. He sees so much more than we can see. Y'all. So I'm not blaming God for not giving me $700 is what I'm trying to say. It'll be easy for me to say, God ain't hear me. I'm going to give up. It don't even matter no more. But then I have to think about what has God told me to do that I haven't even done yet. What has God told me to do and I forgot about because I never wrote it down. This is a spiritual battle. Your obedience in small things is just as important as your obedience in the big things. You might compare me leaving my job versus going on a 5-day fast and say, Well, leaving your job was harder than the 5 day fast. Like that was more important than the 5 day fast. No, every little thing that God tells you is important. Y'all, God has given me a list of things to do even now. List of practical things God has given me. For me praying in the spirit, God has given me what to do. He has told me what to focus on. He says, focus on YouTube. And I'm sitting here like, Lord, you want me to focus on YouTube out of all of my other social medias, even though all of my other social medias are doing better than YouTube? Like, you want me to focus on YouTube, even though I'm getting more subscribers on TikTok, even though I'm getting more views on threads, like, which in turn is giving me more views on my Instagram. But you want me to focus on YouTube, where it seems like it's just so hard to grow? Like, that what you telling me to do? And the Lord is like, yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you to do. And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, okay. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm purposing in my heart to do exactly what God has told me to do. No holds barred. He says YouTube, I'm gonna do YouTube. I'm gonna focus mostly on YouTube. He has told me to focus on YouTube. He's told me to focus on Amazon. I'm like, Lord, what in the world you want me to do on Amazon? Lord said Amazon. So that's the next thing I'm doing, focusing on Amazon. Lord said YouTube. He says Amazon. He says your website and your emails. Capture your emails and your website. So those are the 3 things that I'm focusing on because God has told me to do. So ask God to give you some practical steps. And the reason I know these things off my head like that is because God has been reminding me of them over and over. Whenever I say, Lord, oh my gosh, what do I do today? The Lord is like, what's the last thing I told you to do, girl? Like, what's the last thing I told you to do, Deandra? What is it? What's the last thing? What did I tell you to do? What did I tell you to do? And I'm sitting here like, you told me to upload the video to YouTube and I ain't done it yet. Exactly. I told you to do that and you haven't even done it. So why are we talking right now? Why are you not doing what I told you to do? Why are we talking? And so literally, y'all, that's what God is telling me to do. So that's what I'm going to start doing more of. And I have purposed in my heart that from here until my birthday and on November 30th, I am going to upload 1 video a day. 1 video a day I'm going to upload. And we're going to see where that goes from there. And I'm not going to focus on the editing part. You know, if something really huge needs to be edited out, I will. But I'm not going to focus on the editing because the editing is what slows me down. I'm going to just upload. I'm going to just give y'all the real me. I'm going to just talk to y'all like this. You know, maybe tomorrow I'm gonna be laying on my bed. Maybe tomorrow I'll be on my couch. Maybe I'll be outside. I don't really know. Maybe I'll be sitting by some water. I don't know. Whatever I do, I'm gonna do it for the glory to the glory of God, though. I'm gonna tell y'all to the glory of God. I'm gonna be as real as I can. Another thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about before I leave really quick, and I don't even know. I don't even know if I had this on there. I don't think this was on there. I have some other stuff on here, but I don't even think I put this on here. But the Lord just brought this to my remembrance. So maybe I guess he wants me to tell y'all about this. I have something else to talk about on here, but the Lord is like, nope, I don't want you to forget all that. So I'm gonna forget everything I got on here. I'm talking about recognizing spiritual attacks and what has happened in my life and about the pizza box. If you don't know about the pizza box, go check my videos because I think that's one of my least viewed videos, but it's a good message in that 5-minute video or however long it is. Go watch the video because it's a good one about how our house almost burned down. Um and how I didn't listen to God, but how God still protected our house. Go watch that video because I think it's very good. And I also talked about how I know a lot of people right now are telling us not to be open. Specifically, I saw how Tiffany Montgomery was saying how she's not open with her life because there are people trying to attack her, and how God, in contrast, is telling me to be completely open with y'all, completely open and vulnerable with y'all. So that's my mandate on my life at the moment. But what God told me to tell y'all about y'all right now is I'm entering almost an hour on here. Sorry, y'all, if I'm talking too much. Um, but I have to do what God is. I'm actually not sorry because God is telling me to do this. But recently the Lord dealt with me about my name. And I think this is very important, probably for some people. I don't know how many people are dealing with this, like I'm dealing with this, or like I've been dealing with this my entire life. But he recently dealt with me about using my name. Names and lineages are very important to God. The name that you are given is very important to God. You can tell this by the Bible, how in the Bible, there are entire chapters dedicated to people's names and their offspring. You know, all those chapters that say, Abishaka begat la Bashikadaya and la Bashikadaya begat la Sishoko and la Shakoko begat all them names that I can't pronounce. That's there for a reason. It's because God understands the power of your name that you're given, right? He understands the power of names. He goes so far as to change some people's names, right? Where Abram went to Abraham, his name changed from Abram to Abraham. I think I got that right, not backwards. Where he changed Saul's name to Paul, and therefore Paul went on to write almost the entire New Testament. Like, he changes people's names because names are important to him. Your name that you're born with is important, and that's something that God has been dealing with me over the past couple of weeks. Let me just give y'all a little background really quick. I grew up with a name that's inherently hard to pronounce, Deandra, right? Deandra. Just hard to pronounce. When people see it, they call me everything from DeAndre, Deandra, Deandria, Deandria, Deandra. That was my worst one. I hated that one, Deandra. Like Deandra? No, that's not my name. But it looks like my name, especially when the A isn't capitalized, which is how my name was originally done without capitalization. And so it does look like Deandra. And so since I was in kindergarten, people have been butchering my name to the point where I started hating my name. I started being like, Mom. I remember asking my mama when I was little, Mom, why did you have to name me Deandra? Like, why? Why you couldn't, I mean, you named my sister Nicole. You gave my another sister Shannon. Like, why I had to be named something that's hard to pronounce? So why did you give me Deandra? Like, and then my mom would just be like, I don't know. I just, that's just a name that fits you. And it got to the point where I just did not like my name. So I got to the point where when I got to college, I started telling people to call me D. I didn't want to go through having to tell people how to pronounce my name anymore. So I said, everybody just call me D. To this day, most people from college don't even know my real name. They just know me as D. And so that's really what I've gone by. Even on social media, I go by D. When people see me, they're like D, 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 D. Some of them know my name, some of them don't. But D is what I am called for the most part. With my family calling me Andra for the most part. So if you really know me, you're probably calling me Andra. But never Deandra. Well, a few days ago, the Lord put it on my heart to go look up the meaning of my name. I'm not sure why. I saw something online or something that made me think of it. And the Lord was just like, look up the meaning of your name, Deandra. And I began to look it up. I've looked it up plenty of times before, and I never liked what my name means. I'm like, ugh. I always look at it and think, oh, those are manly adjectives and stuff like that. And just like every other time I've looked it up, I looked at my name and um, it said, I think strong and courageous. And I've always looked at those as like manly terms. And I'm just like, why can't I be gentle and demure, right? Demure. Why can't I be that? Why do I have to be strong and courageous? Well, this time when I looked at it though, I read it and it hit me different. And I began to be excited about those adjectives. And I began to see how they are true. How I am strong and courageous. I began to think about the things that I've gone through, the things that I've even gone through with my husband, the way I've stepped out on faith, listening to God's voice time after time. The way I've taken up for people, the way I've taken up for people who are bullied, even from the time that I was in elementary school, just taking up for people who are bullies. Just being that person to stand up and say, no, you will not do this to my friend. No, you will not do this to a female just because she's a female and you're a guy. No, we will not stand for that. Ever since I was even a small girl, I've been known to stand up and stand out and speak out. And I began to look at those adjectives as meaning with a completely different eye. And I looked at it with joy and I said, yeah, I am strong. Yes, I am courageous. And then as I continued to read, that last adjective that I read, it hit me so hard. It hit me with like a ton of bricks. That last adjective was divine. And as I read that, tears began to fall down my face because I remembered how God had supernaturally given me the name Divine Disruptors for my ministry. And I don't think I've even told y'all about that yet. That's a whole nother story. And Darius knows a lot about it. My husband, Darius, he knows a lot about it. Even the way that I drew out the logo was just divine intervention, for lack of a better word. It was God all over that. The way I came up with that logo, this was before God even gave me the name. I drew out the logo and I was looking at the logo like, what is this? Like I just drew it out just in church one day, just randomly. You know how you doodle? And after I finished it, I'm like, what is this? I remember showing my husband like, Darius, look at this. What is this? This looks like something. I don't know what it is. A few weeks went by and the Lord gave me the name Divine Disruptors. Divine Disruptors. As I began to marinate on it, and as I began to say, oh, I really like that. I really like like however that sounds and the meaning behind it. I like it. Like we're disrupting the enemy. We're disrupting this world. We're coming through with the name of Jesus, Divine Disruptors. And I remember looking at that. And as I looked at the two of the D's, I said, that looks like that. That looks like what I ran and grabbed my journal and I pulled out the little drawing that I drew. And I said, this is the logo for Divine Disruptors. This is what God has given me. Y'all, it was so supernatural. And so that's the background to how I got my name for this ministry. Now, for me to see that my first name means divine, I began to just cry again. Because I'm like, God cares about me that much that he would take my name, the meaning of my name, and put it in my ministry. Hold on. God loves me that much that before I was formed in my mother's womb, he gave me a name that would mean the same thing as the ministry that he would give me 37 years later. He would give me a ministry years, decades later that would mean the same as my name. And I wouldn't even know it because I've been so ashamed of my name, because I haven't really lived into my name, because I've never really worn my name. Y'all, I feel like I'm coming into my identity for the first time. Y'all don't know how I feel, that I'm coming into my identity for the first time. So yeah, I feel like I'm just coming into my identity. I'm sorry, y'all. My phone ran out of space. I'm gonna have to stop this video. But I feel like I'm finally coming into my identity, and I want you guys to really dive into your own identity, what your name means. Ask God to show you exactly what he's trying to show you. And y'all, I have so much to share with y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this next 30-ish days that we're going to go through together of me just coming to y'all raw and unfiltered. Now, this is the beginning of my time with you guys, coming to you every day with something new to talk about. This is going to be a journey for me that I feel like the Lord has put on my heart to do. And so I want to do it, and I want to do it with grace, right? So I'm going to do this for the next month or so until my birthday, just every day a video. I don't know if they're all going to be. I don't know if they're going to be an hour. I don't know if they're going to be 10 minutes. It's what the Lord puts on my heart. But hopefully, who needs to hear it will hear it. Um, this video is to let you guys know that I don't have all the answers to my life right now. I don't have the answers. All I have is faith. All I have is Jesus. All I have is Jesus's words to me. All I have is the vision that he gave me, that he's still giving me. All I have is the words that he's given to other women. Specifically, they've all been women. None of them have been men. They've all been women. The Lord has even given me a separate dream where he's shown me definitively that my ministry is specifically for women, not men. Like the way he showed me in that vision, y'all, I can't wait to tell you about the vision. He told me not to release it until the end of this month. For some reason, he told me to wait until the end of the month to release that vision to y'all. But I can't wait to share that vision with y'all. So I'm gonna be coming to y'all every day with a different word for y'all, and hopefully y'all get something. Hopefully I don't talk too much for y'all. Hopefully the right people will hear it. You know, the Lord began to speak to my heart and say, look, that 193 subscribers that you have on YouTube, those are 193 people, 193 people who could potentially hear my voice. He said, what if that 193 people came to you today to speak with you and to hear you speak to them? What if they came to you right now and said, we want to hear you speak? What would you say? Would you say, oh, that's only 193 people? Or would you say, oh my gosh, 193 people are here to hear me speak? And I began to think, of course I would say 193. I would say 25 people are here to hear me speak. What? Like, what? So I thank you guys so much for you 193 people who have come to hear me speak. And once I hit 500 subscribers, I want to do something very special for you guys. I want to do like some kind of giveaway or something where I give away $100. I don't know where that $100 is going to come from because I'm pretty broke right now. But hopefully by the time I have 500 subscribers, I will have $100 put aside to give y'all. Yeah, I don't have to have $1,000,000 to give out $100. I could literally have $200 and give away $100. You know, that's just how I see things. Like I give in order to be given back to, right? So hopefully you guys got something from this. I'm not sure exactly what I shared and how it will help you, but I really do hope that it will help you because it is what God put on my heart. Um, like I said, I don't have all the answers yet. Sorry, y'all. My baby just keep coming in here wanting to eat these. Welch's fruit snacks. I'm gonna let him eat it. Here you go, deal. Go on back in there. But I am still in the process. I'm still on the journey. And I just want to invite y'all on this journey with me. We'll be talking about more things to come. Look, it won't all be about my life. I'm going to talk about whatever the Lord leads me to talk about. If there's something in the news, if there's something dealing with church, if there's something dealing with somebody in the Christian community, if we're just talking about health and wealth and life in general. We're going to talk about that. It's whatever God leads me to. It's whatever you guys want to talk about. It's just, I just want to be here to share with y'all my experiences, you know, because maybe something that seems so small to me could help you guys out. I don't know. But anyway, I'm here. I'm glad you guys are here with me, and just trying to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Um, I want you guys to really think about the struggles that you've had and how you've gone about hearing God's voice. And I want you to just try your best to trust God. Trust God no matter what. Even if you have $1 to your name, even if you have 1 cent to your name, learn how to trust God through it all. Because I believe that this will pay off. Look, I know I'm sitting here looking crazy. And I gave up that job, time my God told me to, without any money, missing bills. But I do believe that this will pay off. I do believe, and I feel it. And I have things that I'm working on right now. I feel that it's gonna work out. But you guys come along on the journey. We'll see. We'll see if we can trust God or not. We'll see. Look, Look, if I'm left looking crazy, y'all gonna see me looking crazy. And if God does it, you're gonna see that too. And I believe he's gonna do it. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, for spending time with me. If you've gotten through this video this long, look, you my real fan, okay? If you sit here listening to me right now, you are my real fan. I love you and I thank you. And if you did, let me know in the comments if you actually got through this whole video, so I'll know who my real fans are already, who in this with me for real, for real. All right, with that being said, go ahead and share this video to somebody who might can use some part of it. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all the things. I love you guys so much. Also, I cannot forget my free guide. I cannot forget my free guide. It's called Break the Chains. So this is a step-by-step spiritual warfare guide. We talked about spiritual warfare in this video. I actually made a free guide for you guys that is chock full of prayers. I plan on taking that guide and reading it for one of my YouTube videos, so that those of you who really don't like to read can at least have somebody talking it through with you, where you can at least listen to it. So that's in the works. I'm going to do that because I really want you guys to have those prayers, prayed over you. If you don't really like to read, if you just don't have the time to read, at least you can hear those prayers spoken and have that continually spoken over your life, so that the spiritual warfare, those strongholds can be broken in your life. Okay, so that is my goal. But if you want that free guide, go down below into my comments, because I have that for you. When you go into my comments, you're going to click on the link. It's going to take you to my link tree. Click on the free guide, and then you're going to just have to give me your first name and your email address, and that's going to send that guide to your inbox and also put you on my mailing list. Now, I haven't sent out any mail yet. I just want to make sure that I have all of my new friends on a mail list in case I want to send you something. In the meantime, I think that I'm going to start sending you guys an email when I upload videos. I haven't exactly started that yet, but we're getting there, y'all. Look, baby steps. That's the one. Like I told y'all, that's the one thing God told me to do, was to get on the email. So I'm just obeying God. Okay, He told me to create that guide and create an email list. So that's what I'm doing. Look, it's all God. It's all God. So thank you guys so much for everything. I love you guys. And with that being said, peace. Bye.